Last week I made a podcast all about the top 10 biggest mistakes that advanced speakers make that stop them from reaching fluency, whatever that is meant to mean. Here are the top 3 most important ones in my opinion. Ibrahim, guys, is not having it in your head enough. For me, this is the number one kind of foundational piece of advice and key to learning any language is at any point in time, regardless of where you are, who you know, what your situation is, what resources you have access to, how busy you are, how not busy you are, you can always immerse yourself in any language by speaking it in your head. So regardless of whether you're preparing dinner, going out for a walk, watching TV, even whatever it is, you can be a glart as Gaeilge iad a cheann. Okay, so it's like a little solo podcast. You could be out for a walk just saying, okay, tá mé an mhair siúlóid tonight, beidir tar éis seo nuair frech mar asráide, den mé beag ní dinner, in é sin is sam beidir feic mé ar beag ní telefís, anything like that, guys. And the whole idea is you're going to be running into all the words, verbs, grammar rules that you need to use all the time. The kind of 400 or 500 most common nouns, the 20 or 30 most common verbs, the most common kind of sentence structures. And you're going to be learning how to do them as quickly as possible. And you're going to find out what you don't know as well. So then you can easily go and check it, which is the easy part. Just do that on fuckler.ie or Changlin or whatever resource you use online. Also, the great thing about this is it makes everything go faster and faster. So then when you show up to your Irish lesson the next week, or your Circle Cora, or your friend who you always speak as Gaeilge with, and you begin speaking, you'll have spoken it just a few hours before in your head, or even on the way to that Circle Cora. So therefore, it's going to be a lot easier as opposed to maybe if the last time you'd spoke it was 1 week previous. It's like a tap. If you turn on a tap every day, it comes out free-flowing and instantly. But if you only turn it on once a month, once every 2 months, it's going to be spluttering, it's going to be dirty water for the first few seconds. If you're, though, not listening to enough Donegal Irish, or just not listening to enough Irish of different dialects in general. Okay, I know Ulster Irish or Donegal Irish, as it's also known as sometimes, is the toughest of the 3 for most people to understand. But a big mistake people make in general is they avoid the stuff they don't know and kind of stay comfortable. But if you want to become fluent one day, if you want to become a high-level speaker, you also have to be able to understand everything from most different dialects and people of most different ages, and therefore it's just a matter of putting in the hours, guys, listening to more and more and more. There's loads of podcasts, loads of different radio shows, loads of different TV shows available, whether it be on TT Cahir, whether it be independent podcasts on Spotify and iTunes, whether it be stuff for Radio na Lifa, Radio Rira, Radio na Gaeltachta. My stuff, there's an absolute load out there to listen to, and it's just about putting in the practice, and especially with the ones that you find trickier to understand. The more you listen, guys, the easier it's going to get every time, and also the more it's going to improve your own speech. You're going to hear these little native kind of phrases and ways of putting things together, and it's going to improve your pronunciation as well, because you're going to hear the language spoken as it should be. It's going to improve every aspect of your Irish learning, but especially it's going to get you more comfortable listening to different people, and the more comfortable you get, the more you're going to want to listen, because the more you understand, the more you enjoy it, and it just snowballs. So just not being afraid to kind of put yourself out there, I suppose, and just listen to more and more podcasts, especially in Ulster Irish, since it's the toughest of the 3 dialects, and just getting used to it and kind of knowing down the things that you find tricky. And there's loads of resources online that'll help you understand Ulster Irish or Munster Irish or Connacht or whatever one you might be struggling with. But don't avoid it, otherwise you'll never get anywhere. If you're 3, guys, sin Rs agus H's. Rs and H's. I know they're a pain, I know they're annoying, but it doesn't matter how perfect every other aspect of your Irish is. If you say something like Mamadra, it's going to be quite jarring, okay? So, again, there's loads of different resources online for finding out when we should put an H, when we should put in an Uru. I know the list sometimes feels endless in terms of all the different situations where we have to put one in. But just remember some general rules with it. Okay, firstly, single person possession, apart from her, will always have a H. So my dog, your dog, his dog, Mawadra, Dawadra, Owadra. What else? Pretty much any time we just put kind of one word directly before a noun, is like 95% of the time it's going to take a H. So if we have the few adjectives like fear, gama, and shan that always come before the noun, they'll always force a H onto the noun. If we have, let's say, prepositions like the, or fui, or le, or just by themselves, then a H onto the noun. Compared to, let's say, if we have those prepositions with the definite article, so on or fuin, for on the or about the, then they'll take an uru, normally if we have the preposition and the definite article together. What else takes an uru? Normally after the I, as in I Mallorca, I Barcelona, so for locations. What else? The verb will take an uru after the go, so ceapam go maishe on seo. Those are the basic ones, or basic, they're still tricky, but those are the most important ones to know, guys. And one of the best resources you can use for getting your H's and your R's bang on is Gramadóir. Okay, I'll put the link in the bio here. It's basically a kind of spell check, but it picks up on everything from genitive case to Urus to tenses to whatever else, H's as well, Shavus. And what you can do is just put in a paragraph or a page of Irish, again, what I talked about earlier, just kind of talking to yourself basically about stuff you're interested in, typing it out, hit submit, and it'll tell you every single mistake, including all the shavus and the urus that may be missing or unnecessarily put in there, or where you have an uru instead of a H, vice versa. Okay, it's a great resource. I'll leave it in the bio. Get practicing there. Once you have the H's and the urus down, you won't forget it. It's going to make you sound a lot cleaner, a lot crisper, and it really is a necessity to reach that kind of C1 level. Ask well.